Yogi Clan, welcome back to Yogi Cycle Service, and I'm here to tell you it's time. Why is it time? What's it time for? Well, if you are a subscriber to this channel, you will recall that after I went to Daytona, my clutch started slipping. And when I got back, I decided to flush the clutch line and flush everything out, and that seemed to help it slightly. But a couple of you were commenting saying, you know, if your clutch is going, Yogi, is it time to go? And I was like, yeah, but I'm just trying to make it last as long as possible. Well, after going up to the mountains again, so I've gone up to the mountains a couple times since then and didn't really have too many problems, but I noticed when I was in 5th gear or 6th gear on the highway and I'd hit it and I'd punch it, the RPM would go way up and it would slowly come back down as the clutch started grabbing again. The clutch is definitely slipping. I think all the friction is worn off the friction plates. So I'm going to take your advice because on the way home from the mountains last weekend, I had to baby it. I mean, I really did, because I didn't think I was going to make it home. I'm going to Indiana in a couple days, and I know if I do that, very good chance I will lose the clutch along the way. So I decided to order a clutch. Boy, was that fun. Why? Because clutches are sold out everywhere. Didn't really want to put a Harley clutch in. Wasn't really keen on putting a Screaming Eagle in. Wanted to find a Barnett clutch and put a Barnett clutch in here. However, Barnett clutches are sold out everywhere as of today. They're not on JMP. They're not on Revzilla. They're not on Drag Specialties. They're really not even on eBay right now. I mean, I searched for an hour, y'all, and couldn't find it. So I wanted to find something that was maybe an equivalent to a stock Harley clutch. Found Twin Power is what I found. Don't know a whole lot about them, but they had pretty good reviews online, and they said they are compatible, if not better than stock clutch. This was $200. What do you get for $200? You may ask. And the sales thing said this was good for a hydraulic clutch, so I'm kind of hoping that's the case. You have 8 steel discs, 9 friction discs. So, before we get this installed, order of process, I'm going to remove this floorboard, and we're going to remove this front floorboard, so we have full access, and probably remove our shifters, so we have access to the primary. I'm going to pull the primary cover, drain it, pull the primary cover off, and then pull the clutch apart and swap plates. While we're doing that, I'm going to want to take these friction discs, and I'm going to put them in a tray, and I'm going to put them in primary fluid that I'm going to use in the primary here, and let them kind of just sit and soak in there for a few minutes and just absorb some of that primary fluid before we put them into the clutch. So let's get that process started. Primary fluid that we're going to use, let's put some in the pan. It's pretty clean. There's really nothing on that magnet at all. Very little. Not very much. So that's good to see. We like to see that. The front loosened up and the back bolt removed. That's giving us enough room there that we can access this floorboard. Alright, shifter peg is off. They shouldn't be too bad because I took this cover off a few months ago to inspect the chain tensioner. Alright, so here's your clutch basket. It is really not a very difficult repair. First, we're going to loosen up these 6 bolts, take that off, and then pull all the clutch out and replace it. Ye old 10mm. Friction plate, steel plate, friction plate, steel plate, and so on down the line. This little guy is smaller. You can tell it's a little skinnier than the other one. So that one's going to go in first. And if you compare these, what I'm noticing, now the steel plates don't look too bad, but you never can tell if the diameter of it has thinned out. And I mean, it looks a little bit crispy, looks a little bit burned, but it's not too bad. Thought, you know what, this has 100,000 miles on it, let's just replace the plates. So we did get new plates. This kit did not come with a new skinny little one. Old versus new. I will definitely say that this is definitely worn compared to these. These are still, the diameter, you can't see it probably this way, but I can visually see that these friction plates are thicker than these. These are definitely worn off. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab from the bottom of the pile here. We're going to put one friction plate in. And we're going to put a steel plate in. Friction plate. Friction plates grab on the outside, the steel plates grab on the inside. So the inside hub spins independent of the outside. And that's how your clutch engages and disengages your primary chain from your transmission, in case you were wondering. And I am by no means, don't get me wrong, I am not a clutch expert. So don't take Yogi's word as gospel. There are much better videos on YouTube out there than mine. But I'm doing it, so I'm recording it. Spring on. Alright, service manual says 70 to 100 inch-pounds. I have this set on 100 inch-pounds. We're going to run with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Time to put the primary cover on, fill up fluid, and take it for a ride. Lord, please work, because I don't have another bottle of primary fluid to mess with. That gasket is pretty new, so we're just going to reuse it. Alright, time to take her for a ride, see what she does. I'll be back. Ah yes, Yogi Clan, so here I am, still sitting here with Bertha. We went for a test ride, and let me explain what happened. I got all excited, I pulled it out of the garage, I put my helmet on, I put my gloves on, I fired it up, I popped it down into first gear, and it went, whew! Luckily I was holding on to the brakes, and it stalled. What the heck was that? So I did, and I noticed that the clutch handle here felt different, right? Didn't feel right. So I did it again, and it did it again. Now I know I got a problem, so suddenly my heart sank. So I pushed it back up onto the table here, put it back up in the air, took everything out, caught all my fluids so I could put them back in. And here's what I found. The stock friction plate, the very first plate, if you're paying attention to the video, so here's a regular friction plate, right? The stock friction plate was about, see this thickness right here? From top to inside here, outer diameter to inner diameter of this, right there. The first friction plate that went in there was about half of that. Well, I didn't use that one. I used this one. You can see this is old, this is new. Old, new. You can see the difference. Okay? So I put all the new ones in. I put everything together, and when I was putting in the last metal plate before the last friction plate, I noticed that it wasn't lining up on the teeth right. It was just, it didn't feel right. Just didn't feel right. But I got it to line up. We made it work. Got it to line up, put this one on, put it all back together. So I thought, maybe, just maybe, that first plate, maybe there's something on the inside there that runs around on the inside that, and I was looking at the service manual, there is a spring that's on the inside of there. So I pulled it all apart. I used the stock first friction plate, put it back in with all the new plates. That's why I have this one still left over and the bike's put back together, because I swapped the old one of these for this. The one that's skinnier, so it fit right. I did notice while I was putting it together, I shined in there with a flashlight and you could clearly see the ring. You could clearly see that this plate would not fit because it's too thick this way. It needed to be thinner. So I used the stock one, put them all back together, put everything back together, pulled the clutch in, it was in neutral, fired it up, held my breath, dropped it down into first gear while holding the clutch in while I was on the table, and it didn't go anywhere. Heck yeah! we're fixed. Finished buttoning it all up, putting it all back together. Took it for a test drive. This time I got out of the driveway. But, there is a but. When I would go from first to sixth, it wasn't really a problem upshifting. But when I would go to downshift to go back down to first, it was really hard. It didn't want to go down. And that made me think, maybe this clutch is still not fully disengaging. So then I got it back into the driveway. I pulled it in the driveway. I pulled the clutch in and I stopped. And when I stopped, it sounded like it wanted to stall. So, what the heck's going on? So I sat there for a minute and it kept trying to pull me forward with the clutch all the way in. And I noticed the grab. It started as soon as I started letting out. It started grabbing. Now I don't know why any of this is happening, other than I just don't think that this is the right clutch kit for a hydraulic clutch. This is probably for a clutch where you can adjust it, and like on my Fat Boy, on any bike that doesn't have a hydraulic clutch. So I don't think this is the right clutch kit. I really don't. It's a twin power clutch that came from Dennis Kirk. It said on there, it clearly, let me get my phone. Make sure it fits your ride. Select the ride. Ultra Limited, FLH TK, 386 582. All right, twin power clutch kit, 386 582. This item fits. 2014 Harley Davidson Electric Glide Ultra Limited FLH TK. Let me tell you, it doesn't fit. The clutch is not disengaging. So we will see what Dennis Kirk comes back with. I have emailed them. I'm supposed to be going to Indiana a week from yesterday, so I got 6 days, and there's a Sunday and a holiday. So I leave on that Friday, so that's like I got 3 days. I got Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to get this figured out, or we're taking Miss Piggy. So it is about an 11-hour ride, not including fuel stops and food. So probably we're going to go for an adventure on Miss Piggy. I guess you do what you got to do, right? So stay tuned. We'll see what Dennis Kirk says, and then we'll probably put the other clutch in and see if that does any better. All right, y'all. Peace.